This morning my neighbour dropped round their orchid, which they've had for a few years, asking if I can give it a little TLC. In this short video I'm going to show you how to identify a couple of issues and how to fix them. At first glance their orchid looks healthy enough. I've certainly rescued worse. The roots are quite proud of the potting bark, but that's not too uncommon. We can also see here what looks like a little sunburn. This could be caused by the specific location of the plant in the house, the plant under stress with watering or dryness, or it could be that something has landed on the leaf and caused it irritation. I'll need to find out a little more, but as it's only affecting the one leaf, the plant overall should be fine. The orchid will eventually kill off this leaf and replace it with another. The aerial roots here look happy, and we can see plenty of little green tips growing. This is a 3-year-old plant, and I would expect the roots to be a little thicker, close to the orchid, and it would also be near its repotting time. Okay, let's take a little look at this chappie and see what's going on. Right away I can see that the bottom of the cane is soaking wet. My guess is that this orchid's been sat in water. Okay, taking the orchid out of its larger pot. Yeah, there we go. This has been sat in water for a while, I think. Which explains why the orchid is struggling. The orchid won't grow roots down into the water because they would instantly rot. Its only option is to grow aerial roots, like we can see here, though those aren't able to soak in water as it's being watered incorrectly. That would then hamper its growth, which is why it's not grown much since being gifted. Let's pour that water away. Okay, well this is going to be quite straightforward then. The nursing required for this orchid is to replace the bark, giving the roots the ability to soak in water, and showing the owner a quick demonstration of how to water the orchid properly. Firstly, let's get the orchid out and clean everything up. Gently ease the orchid out of its pot. Oh, that came out easily. It really didn't want to be in there. Let's take a closer look at these roots, and while we're here I'm going to remove the wet pod that the baby plant grew in. We don't need that anymore, and it will make repotting easier with it gone. I'm going to remove just a couple of the rotten roots, just to tidy it up. If you've got lots of rotten roots on your orchid, cut them away to allow the plant to dry out thoroughly between waterings. Keeping the damaged roots adds no value to the plant. You can tell which ones are the rotten roots easily. Give them a little squeeze. If they're hollow or water comes out, they're bad. So I'm just going to cut that one there away. And another one here which I'm going to remove too. Otherwise it looks okay. The pot itself is fine, it's not damaged, and as the roots weren't compacted inside, it's still the right size for this plant. I'm going to throw the old bark away and give the pot a quick wash. I'll also wash the decorative pot too to make sure there's nothing bad in there that will damage the plant. Now this is the fun bit. Get yourself a bag of potting bark and a bowl. This can get a bit messy, so give yourself plenty of space. Lower the plant into the pot and, using some encouraging and supportive words, wrangle the roots so they all fit in. Be careful not to snap or damage any, and there's nothing wrong with having a few aerial roots still outside if you're worried about doing damage. And then gently press it down into the pot so the bottommost leaves are at the same level as the top of the pot. While still holding the plant in the right place, with the other hand, sprinkle some bark into the open areas around the edge. And then tap the side of the pot so the bark drops down to the bottom. Rotate the plant and repeat. All the while holding the orchid in place, keep feeding in more bark and tapping it down into the gaps. Once you feel that tapping is no longer working, gently squeeze the sides of the pot. This will allow the bark to fall down into the gaps further. We can see we still have lots of gaps, so I'll keep working away on this for a bit. Be patient and take your time. Rushing will only risk damaging the pot or breaking the orchid. No, got that the wrong way around. Rushing will only break the pot or damage the orchid. There's still some gaps around the pot, so I'll keep going. Okay, there we go. There are a few small gaps still, but these roots will expand and grow to fit this pot. As the orchid is going to be much happier, I expect lots of flowers in the future. So I'm going to push a fresh cane into the bark and add a little clip so it's there when needed. I'm also going to give it a little mist to provide it with some nutrients. And there we go. I'm going to drop this back round to the neighbour and show them how to water this orchid properly. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even helped you save an orchid of yours which may be struggling a little. Here's a link to a video I've done which explains a really simple way to water orchids, and another video here from the channel which you may be interested in. Thank you for your time and happy growing.